I feel like I'm constantly challenging the status quo. We reject the notion that pelvic health dysfunction is something to be endured. Every woman deserves the opportunity to feel strong, capable, and in control of her body. The status quo is that we have weak muscles, therefore we should strengthen them. We have had children, therefore we should accept it. We've gone through menopause, therefore we should expect it. We're just getting old, so we should accept it. This is a nonsense. We do not have to accept it. There is something you can do. There is hope for your pelvic floor. So yes, we are challenging the status quo whilst we are together in the Pelvic Health Café. To Hope for Your Pelvic Floor, the podcast where honest conversation meets real evidence-based solutions for your pelvic health. I'm Claire Sparrow, second-generation Pilates teacher, educator, and best-selling author. I'm here to help you understand your body better, move with confidence, and finally get answers that make sense. Each week, we'll bust myths, share insights from movement science and pelvic health research, and give you practical steps you can actually use in your everyday life. Because pelvic health isn't just about exercises. It's about reconnecting with yourself, one breath, one choice, and one movement at a time. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. It's another episode of Hope for Your Pelvic Floor. I'm really excited to talk with you today about the Pelvic Health Café. This is something I have spoken about a little bit on the podcast before, and I wanted to share today particularly about the way that we're changing the Pelvic Health Café and also about where it came from, what's the origins of the Pelvic Health Café. So I remember listening on the radio many years ago now, a conversation about a menopause cafe. And it sparked this idea in my head of having something similar but specific to pelvic health. So we were driving up to Scotland and we always tune into BBC Radio Scotland, and they were interviewing this lady who had started the Menopause Cafe. And it was something that was now popping up all over the UK, not just in Scotland. And she talked about how women coming together were able to share with each other their experiences, and in doing so, lighten the load and help each other navigate this experience of menopause. She also talked about menopause being seen as an illness or a health condition, when in actual fact, we know that menopause is actually a process of life. Just going through puberty, menopause is a natural occurrence. And it is something that we should have more education and more information about. And I feel exactly the same way about our pelvic health. I believe that we should have better education and more information about how to work with our pelvic health, how to move with our pelvis, and how to support it and have it support us. And it really sparked in my mind this initial idea of having a pelvic health cafe, and the vision for it was that, like the menopause cafe, we could have pelvic health cafes popping up all over and supporting women everywhere. And I really imagined that this would be in real life. So I started it like that, in real life. So I began an in-studio pelvic health cafe, so at my Pilates studio, Chapalatin Pilates in Leeds. And this, at the time, made the most sense to me, gathering together in real life. And very quickly, it became clear to me that being in my studio and being in Leeds actually limited the accessibility for many women who really, really wanted and needed this community support and connection and the kind of hive mind of wonderful women sharing their experiences and motivating one another. Because hearing someone else, another woman's experience and progress and achievement, it gives you so much hope. So much hope. Yes, I can talk and wax lyrical and talk about these women, but when you hear it from someone who has been able to make an impact on their pelvic health, who's taken back control, it's next level. So I decided, okay, well, let's do both in person and then also online, because it was a real and still is a real priority for me that I make the support, whether it's the Pelvic Health Café or whether it's our pelvic health membership, that it's accessible, that people can get to it, achieve it, do it. So it really worked quite well to have two options for women to come to. So we had those women who really wanted to be in the room, and then we had those women all over the world, as it turned out, joining us online so they could be part of that community. And then over a couple of years, so it was about 2002, I think, that I finally took the plunge to do in person. And then last year, it became really clear that doing this hybrid, doing one online and doing one in person, wasn't working anymore. That the Zoom room actually got deeper and richer and really profound because we had so many women in attendance, and then the in-person just sort of dropped off. It dissipated. There were less women coming in person. And I think part of that is because it's a big step still for us to come together in the room and have those conversations. So I decided, okay, we're going to go all the way to the online version. So we are now well established in taking the Pelvic Health Cafe online. And now that it's established, really fully established online, I thought it might also work for women if we have a little structure to the cafe. So perhaps a theme, I might introduce a topic that we can discuss. So I like in June, because it's Prolapse Awareness Month, we used the topic of prolapse and had that as our central focus of conversation. And it was wonderful because we had women talking about how they've used the whole body pelvic health method to resolve their prolapse, or somewhere they've been managing their symptoms and it's allowed them to get back into all the normal activities of life that they wanted. And those who are new to my world, it was giving them hope and optimism about what is also possible for them. So we had the breadth of conversation about prolapse. And also it was interesting in that one, because what I realize now is a lot of women don't truly know the symptoms of prolapse. So those women in the room who didn't think they had prolapse or just didn't know anything about it, then received that education that perhaps some of the things they feel, the deep hip pain, might be a precursor or a little signal that you're actually experiencing prolapse. So this was another layer of real education that I think is so important. So this is the idea moving forwards. Each of our pelvic health cafes will provide maybe a meditation or a theme or a movement exercise sequence that you can do in your own practice, a story or a quote, something that's going to lead us into our topic of conversation and those questions and discussions. And with the Pelvic Health Cafe, it's me opening an opportunity for discussion. It's free completely, of course, and it's also a forum for women to step up. It's not for me to dictate and lead the whole cafe. It really is about you having an opportunity to say, this thing happened and I'm annoyed about it, or this thing happened and I'm really pleased that I took this action. So it's a place to have your voice and be part of something. And I'm so proud of it. And I still feel like it's the beginning. I'd love for more of the pelvic health cafes to happen and be led by other people. At the moment, I host it once a month. So it's on a Friday, and the next one is Friday, the 26th of September, and it's at 6 p.m. And we get together and we'll have lots and lots of different sorts of conversations. And sometimes the topic comes around to menopause, because for many of us, that's where we're at. And it's how our pelvic health has altered and changed in that time. So what I wanted to also share with you today to give you some perspective and some hope around your pelvic health and what the Pelvic Health Cafe can offer you is to share the mission and my vision for that. And perhaps the vision goes beyond, extends beyond the cafe itself. And perhaps you could take this mission and vision out into your own life, out into the conversations that you're having with the women in your life, and perhaps have your own version of the Pelvic Health Cafe just by having open conversations. So the mission of the Pelvic Health Cafe is that it's a welcoming and inclusive space where women can openly discuss, learn, and share their experiences around pelvic health. Through conversation, education, and community support, we empower women to take charge of their well-being and break the silence around pelvic health challenges. Isn't that huge? You know, we are silenced. We are told so often that whatever we're experiencing is just to be expected. And we should just do strength-based exercise and get on with it. And actually, there's so much more that we can do, and we can take charge of that. And the vision is that we envision a world where pelvic health is talked about as freely and openly as any other aspect of women's health. By fostering meaningful discussion and dismantling outdated stigmas, we strive to ensure that every woman feels informed, supported, and confident improving her pelvic health. This is one of the things I've seen in the years that I've been working with women is the lack of confidence, the lack of information, feeling like deep down there's a question or a hesitation about what they're being told. But because a medical professional is telling them something, or because nobody else is talking about it, or because social media says just wear big incontinence pants and go to the concert or do the yoga class or do the Pilates class, it feels so disempowering out there in the world. And the more that bias is there, the less confidence, the more constricted women become. And I want so much more for all of us than that. For the next generations of women, I want more that confidence that actually we gain from being in conversation with other women in the cafe, as an example. So the values and the purpose, I've broken this down into little short statements around the Pelvic Health Cafe. And the first is about accessibility and inclusivity. So the Pelvic Health Cafe is literally open to all women everywhere, providing safe and a supportive space to talk, listen, and learn. It's online by Zoom. It's completely free. It's at 6 o'clock on a Friday once a month. And then empowerment through knowledge gets stronger and more enabled to do something when we have greater education. So I believe that shared wisdom across the generations creates a ripple effect, giving women the tools to advocate for their own pelvic health. Isn't that huge? There are countless stories that I could share where women have felt rushed out of appointments. Women have felt that they've not been listened to, not believed, not understood, that they've been belittled. And it just doesn't have to be like that. But it starts with us learning more, coming together and building our collective strength from a place of knowledge so that we can go and have a voice for ourselves, that we can advocate for ourselves. Because until you have that sense of strength and knowledge, very hard to. Countless women have come in absolute tears, like breakdown point, because they've just not had that strength. They know that there must be more for their pelvic floor. And this environment helps to tease that out and that strength. The Pelvic Health Café also really challenges the status quo, which doesn't surprise you at all, I'm sure. I feel like I'm constantly challenging the status quo. We reject the notion that pelvic health dysfunction is something to be endured. Every woman deserves the opportunity to feel strong, capable, and in control of her body. The status quo is that we have weak muscles, therefore we should strengthen them. We have had children, therefore we should accept it. We've gone through menopause, therefore we should expect it. We're just getting old, so we should accept it. This is a nonsense. We do not have to accept it. There is something you can do. There is hope for your pelvic floor. So yes, we are challenging the status quo whilst we are together in the Pelvic Health Café. And then finally, this is so important. I bet that there's lots of you listening that feel this in aspects of your life, that it's about building a legacy of support for one another. When women share their experiences, they inspire and uplift others, creating lasting change that extends way beyond themselves and that moment in time. And isn't that the truth? That we really do want that. We want to change for the generations after us. We want to be having conversations like we are now about menopause with the women in our life. That pelvic health is not just the, oh yeah, I must avoid the trampoline, the joke that we make. That's sad. That's sad to me when women are joking about what they have to endure or what they have to avoid. There is something that we can do together, and we can make this shift and this change for future generations. So at the Pelvic Health Café, it's also really important that no woman is left behind. Together, we're breaking barriers, changing perceptions, and then empowering each other, empowering the women together so that we can thrive in whatever we choose in our life, that we are not limited by our pelvis, our pelvic floor, the diagnosis that may have been applied to us. We can thrive and do so much more. It really is, can you tell, I feel super emotional as I talk about it, because just because I am on the front line with women every day, where their life, your life listening right now, is truly impacted by what's going on for your pelvic floor. And I just so believe that it doesn't have to be that way. We can do so much more, and we can step up just simply by joining together at the Pelvic Health Café. and supporting each other. And if you can't join the cafe, you can have a conversation with other women in your life. You can download the free Whole Body Pelvic Health app. You can read my blog. You can join in free classes from there. You can join the membership. There is so much you can do. There's always something that you can do. And as a Pilates teacher and educator, I think about Joseph Pilates and the legacy of his work. And he was known to work with lots of people, but he did work with women. And he was determined, as I am, to see what can be done. How can your body function? He worked with a woman called Eve Gentry who had a double mastectomy, one of the first in America. And she was a dancer, a professional. And she was told that she would never dance again. Was determined that there was something that could be done, that she could dance, that there would be a way. And he was right. There was a way. He helped her to regain her mastery of her own body. She was able to dance again and live a fulfilling life, much to the dismay of the medical profession. They didn't believe him. They didn't believe her. They had to prove by demonstrating her movement that it was true. It is possible to overcome, to do something. And I want you to remember that every day. There is always something that you can do. And I hope that I'll see you at the Pelvic Health Café. That's our takeaway today, is to log into the link. I'll put it below. Don't worry if you miss this one. You can come to the next one. We're not going anywhere. I am going to keep doing this. We meet pretty much every month. And I tend not to do it in the summer because I take August off, but we're pretty much together every month. And the conversations are deep and rich and amazing. And it does feel like the beginning. And if you want to get involved, if you think, I think I'd like to host a Pelvic Health Cafe, please, please, please DM me, reach out, email me, let me know. And we can talk about what that might look like, how you can take this mission and this vision and these values and bring them to your community, whether it's in person or online. The more of us that can hold space for each other, the better. So I would love to have your help growing this mission. Thank you so much for listening. I will look forward to seeing and hearing from you, and I will be back again next week with our next episode. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to Hope for Your Pelvic Floor. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs it. It really does help more women find the support they deserve. And for deeper support, head to wholebodypelvichealth.co.uk to explore the Whole Body Pelvic Health membership and many free resources. You can ask more from your pelvic floor, and I'll be here, your voice of hope, every step of the way.